This is It's Not in the Syllabus podcast, the how-tos of a student beyond classroom walls. This is the podcast where you, yes you, get to learn what they don't teach you at school and ace that test called life, or at least get a passing grade and get by. It's Not in the Syllabus is a podcast brought to you by the Adventist International Institute of Advanced Studies, together with the Student Association, where we feature stories by the students and for the students. Join us as we discover life lessons you'll surely need.
Welcome back to our 23rd episode of It's Not in the Syllabus. Today we are going to talk about motives of service having a Christ worldview. And today with me I have the privilege to have Dr. Pavel. Dr. Pavel, it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Good. Let me briefly introduce Dr. Pavel. If I just give all his bio, it's going to be a long program, but I'll briefly introduce him. I know him as the chair of Applied Theology, also as the president of Asia Qualitative Research Association, ACRA, in the Philippines. Yes. And then also, one thing about him, you always see him involved in mission outreach. In fact, I think Dr. Pavel is the one who really applied theology in a real sense. So today we are going to discuss motives of service. Dr. Pavel, tell me, why do you serve Christ? What is your motivation for serving Christ?
Thank you for this question, Eddie. I think for the personal motive, I have several good reasons. I'm not coming from the pastoral family or a missionary family, let's say.
Oh, wow.
I'm coming from ordinary family of my father is a carpenter.
Okay.
And I was learning from them the skills. My grandfather was a pastor and a carpenter as well.
Wow.
And this is where I got the passion for service, for ministry from my grandfather,
Okay.
grandfather.
Okay.
And of course, my parents were always involved in mission. And our home was always a center for mission.
Wow.
We had people of who had some interest to the Bible studies. They would come. We had worship services, and during that communist time, it was persecution still. And I remember when my parents, they did the best to serve the Lord in those unfriendly circumstances when it was a very difficult time.
Wow.
So to me, service is something that was always with me, from my childhood and from my grandparents' family. So I would say, personally, to me, serving the Lord brings meaning to life. Brings the feeling of accomplishment. This is why you are living for.
Wow.
If you don't serve, I always felt bad when I was traveling somewhere and I didn't have an opportunity to talk about Christ. To me it would seem as a waste of time. You didn't do what you were supposed to do.
Yes.
Service is something that probably is the part and a parcel of every Christian. Well, there were ups and downs when I was more active, less active, but always I see the service is the result of my personal relationship with God. How I feel it, how if I'm closer, when I'm closer to God, I feel more urged to do something for Him.
Yes.
So this is as I feel inspiration coming from my family, from my parents, from my grandparents, and also from the Bible.
Yes. Well, I like it because you mentioned serving Christ gives you meaning, sense of value in life. And particularly you have not coming from, maybe your father was not maybe your father was not a pastor. Your grandfather, you mentioned, was a pastor. One of the things we are going to discuss here in this conversation is having Christ worldview as we serve Him, the motive of serving Christ. So, what will be some of the benefits of serving Christ with a Christ worldview or a Christ character? I would say.
Yes. I think one of the most important benefits is that you are not playing Christian. You are being Christian, right?
I like that.
You are being yourself. Just I remember when I was serving in the military. It was a military duty.
Yes.
Every male has to serve.
Yes.
1.5 years. And I remember when everyone goes to sleep, others, not officers, but let's say fellow soldiers, but they have some more responsibility.
Okay.
Surgeons, they would ask me to come to their office and talk about my faith.
Okay.
Until late night.
Wow.
It was, it was interesting. I was never being alone. I mean, people, when they see me practicing my faith, they would ask questions.
Okay.
It's natural.
All right.
The benefit is that when I share my lifestyle, I'm always answering questions about the Sabbath.
All right.
Why Sabbath? Why you're not working? Why this? Why that? Many questions.
Why you're not eating that?
Right. Yes. Why not? Going somewhere with the girls and spending time. And I explain that this is my lifestyle.
Sure.
This is what I believe, and this is the truth. I think the benefit of it all is that you make changes. You contribute to someone's life. You just share something that they don't have. When I was a pastor, we had also many interesting encounters with people, with some church members, relatives who are not believers, who are not Adventists.
Yes.
And I would also talk about this and that. We sometimes we crack jokes and we just be friends with them. And I see how they're interested. Sometimes they are coming to some events, to the church, and once somebody would like to study the Bible, and then we study the Bible. I remember the small group that we had with the music teachers. They just expressed the desire to study the Bible in the group. So we did it, and I was so excited.
Wow.
When I see them changing their life, when they come and they pray, they start praying, they start sharing how their life changed when they start seeking God. This is amazing. You feel that you live for a purpose, and I think one of the most important things about Christ worldview is that you share yourself, your lifestyle, your habits, your passion, your knowledge, everything that belongs to you, because this is what Christ is doing with us when he wants to change us in order for us to change others. Right?
Yes.
To impact others' lives. This is discipleship all about.
Yes.
Right.
I think I will come back to the discipleship aspect, but bringing this idea that now that you are serving Christ in a school setting, which means you impact students. So one of the benefits is to maybe share your character to students. So how do you think has this method of sharing who you are to students be impactful or useful as you've been serving AIIAS, I don't know, for many years now, as
the 6th year.
6 years. So how is this been so far?
Yes, this is a good question. In academic environment, you think it's different because it's not a evangelistic campaign.
Yes,
right?
yes.
It's a classroom setting.
Prayer.
Yes. But still, you share yourself as well. Students, they see you as a person first of all, then as a teacher. You share your passion. You share your vision, and especially in my area. I'm teaching applied theology.
Yes.
That is so natural. Again, we talk about research, but then we see how research benefits the church, how we can, address some issues, current issues. So I think this is also a part of this process of working with students, when I see them learning and being excited about what they learned and how they do it now.
Yes.
And what they would finish a course or finish a program, look back and say thank you for that and that, and I see them, presenting, doing research, and or teaching some courses. That's already, praise God for that. What is happening?
I this was not in the program, but Dr. Pavel is not just teaching class settings, but is also teaching students how to help serving, and I've been benefiting from most of the help, not just in academic, where he's also one of my advisors in the papers that we do, but it's also in benefiting students or helping students who are self-supporting students. So I've been one of them. So
Amen.
thank you for your ministry. My view on the motives of service is there are many of us, when it comes to serve Christ, we have different perspectives, different worldviews. I would like to know, I'm sure this might be a question that needs to be unpacked in a very careful manner and also broad. How will the church be if we all served Christ with Christ's character?
Yeah, good question. This is like a dream about the ideal. We are not ideal. Myself, I'm not ideal. I'm not a good example in everything, right? Some things that I would wish to do better. To perform better. That's I think the dream when we can see in the Bible, when God wants to use His church, his children in this world as his representatives, as his hands and feet, and representing his character, embodying him in the today's reality, in today's society. We want to embody Christ in our mission. We want to do what Jesus used to do in this world, right? I think this is well said, well stated in the Spirit of Prophecy, in the book Testimonies, volume 9, and page 189. I would like to read it.
Please go ahead.
This is very important quotation. If we would humble ourselves before God and be kind and courteous and tender-hearted and pitiful, there would be 100 conversions to the truth, where now there is only one.
If we be humble.
You see, what is the impact of Christ's character? It's amazing. It's hundredfold. You multiply yourself by not just by one on one, one plus one, but one plus hundreds.
Wow.
So that means the impact is huge when we really live Christ-like life, when we don't play, when we don't pretend to be just Adventists or church members,
churchgoers.
But we are really passionate Christians. Now I'm reading a book that is a very interesting book by Nick Ripken, The Insanity of Obedience. Very interesting book about how insane it is to really be Christ follower.
Wow.
Going beyond what it means to be a church member.
Wow.
Practicing your faith, sharing your faith with others. And he gives a lot of examples of how missionaries would give up their lives for others. He gives practical examples, and this is a challenging book, I should say, to me personally. It challenges my, sometimes warm testimony, modality when I'm just, dormant missionary. So that is true. I think things would change a lot if we practice this Christ-like life, and also we do something for Christ, not just trying to be good Christians, but actually working for Christ, building strategies, laying down plans, and doing something that we
Alright.
can do within our reach, within our area of interest or gifts. Yeah, I believe.
Wow.
I will give you one example. Sorry. We had one pastor in Ukraine.
Okay.
I used to teach in Ukraine to the Ukrainian pastors, and I learned about this pastor. Some said that he was one of the most successful pastors in the area,
Okay.
and I was really interested why. And one of my friend, he said, this pastor is not the best in terms of education or in terms of his skills and gifts. And he's preaching, when he's preaching, you may not say that he's extraordinary pastor, just regular pastor. But he has a character, he's a friend, a good friend, and he has so many people around him who would naturally be attracted to him because of his, disposition to love people, to serve them.
Yeah.
He's not a good speaker, as I said, but he's a good friend. He's a good person. And once there was a real case that I would share. He went to one of the church members, a sister who had an unbelieving husband.
Okay.
She wanted the pastor to come and convert her husband. And she would tell her husband, pastor is coming, please listen to him like that. When he came,
Yeah.
the husband was watching football.
Okay.
It was football game,
All right.
soccer game, very passionate. He would scream, he would, be very excited.
Yeah.
And when the pastor came, the wife said, "Oh, pastor came." She switched off the TV and said, "Okay, now you sit and listen to the pastor." And the husband was like, he was not happy at all.
Yeah.
But then she left them and she went to another room.
Yeah.
In a while, she heard TV is
The
on.
TV.
And this pastor together with this husband cheering for the football team and having fun. When he left, this husband he was sharing with his wife and said, "You have a good pastor." So what is it? He didn't do much. He didn't give Bible studies formally, whatever. But he was good friend.
Yes.
So that's what I think is important. When we talk about Christ-like character, to be closer to people, to be, approachable, to remove all unnecessary barriers.
The barriers.
Sorry for taking time.
No. Actually, this is good because it brings us to a point where, if we have the motive to serve Christ, we need to understand that despite of how we serve Him, we are different. We are different. We have different gifts. God gave us different gifts, and this makes us unique. But however, what brings us united is the Christ idea.
Yes.
So we have to share Christ based on what He has done for us, and this is what I get from you. I have come across with so many questions in light of they say there are individuals who are in church. I will not say particular just our church, but it's also in church where they serve Christ with personal agendas, and they are, some will even say they are Satan's agents. So how is it can one serve Christ with personal agenda?
Well, maybe it's not like black and white question.
Yes.
Because sometimes it's difficult when we look at people's motives, why they do this or they don't do that. You may be also on the erring side, because as we know, the weeds and tares they
grow together.
They grow together until the time. So sometimes it's difficult to judge and to tell, to say for sure. But true enough, I think what we all, let's say, are prone to this is that the church, it's our community, it's our group. We live within this group, we feel ourselves comfortable, we create our own organizational culture, and we just naturally feel ourselves in this environment, safe environment. So it may look like our agenda, and it may be our agenda. That's true. I think what we need is always be reminded of our mission, of who we are, where we are, and what is around us. If you look around us, we would see people desperate, looking for help, looking for hope, for a job, for whatever advices, and they all need help. And this is something that the church may experience a lack of interest and, let's say, openness to see the world, to see the need. But that is true. Sometimes we just look after positions, after some promotions, after recognition. This is natural, okay?
Yes.
This is natural for people, and it may take place in Christian's life. But what we need to know that our identity is not in who we are in our position. If we are, have academic degrees, or we don't have degrees, we have education or we don't have education at all, it doesn't matter so much when it comes to practicing our faith. And the church is more than just ranks and files. The church is about the community of those who are ready to serve others.
Definitely.
If we are confined within ourselves, if we are focused within ourselves, then this happens what you mentioned now, that the church begins to be more preoccupied with their personal agendas. And even disciples of Christ, they had their personal agendas.
Definitely.
Right? They wanted Christ to be this and this. They had plans for Christ, okay? And then later they learned, okay, I see now they see the Christ has obviously other plans.
Definitely. I usually used to, not usually, but I subscribe to the idea that everyone serves Christ with one motive. And I subscribe this idea based on the disciples' life. There's something that draws us or drives us to serve Christ. We all have our own motives why we serve Christ, but at the end of the day, that motives, when we get closer to Him, changes. Because the more you come closer to Christ, the more it's changed. And one particular idea that you mentioned a while ago is that the church should be engaged in service.
Yes.
Should be a community that invite others to see who this Christ is. And speaking of service, and actually this month we are talking about mission and service. I've been seeing that there was some service that's taking place on campus. For instance, we have prison ministry and many others that is taking place. And recently, I saw your post on Facebook, that there is an activity that will take place in a different country. I don't know if you'll be able to share it with us. Well, it's a post that just recently.
You mean the Central Asia?
Central Asia. Can you briefly, maybe some people wants to get more information as you're going to wrap up our conversation. Just briefly tell us what is this and why are you promoting this particular mission? What is the benefit? Who benefits at the end of the day?
Well, Central Asian tour is not, strictly speaking, is not an evangelistic initiative. It's more about learning and seeing other people in different contexts and learning about them. That is a good time to learn about the church in that region. Actually, I was born in Uzbekistan. This is about Uzbekistan.
Oh, wow.
That country is an ancient Silk Road place when the caravans from China going to Europe would cross their way, and very interesting place. And I think what we need to learn and to see when we go there by group is to see how God is working in that place, how the church is doing. This is a Muslim country, and the whole Central Asia is a Muslim region. How the church is adapting to these challenges, to these barriers that are there, and God is still working in that place through different ways. So I think it's good for us to see different culture, to see our history, because that is an ancient place, and there's a mixture of different cultures there. Also, we can see how we can respond to those challenges, to those needs in this especially multi-national, multi-religious environment. Central Asia is the place where different worldviews took place. Zoroastrianism coming from Persia, then Christianity coming from Greece with Alexander the Great, and not Christianity, but Greek mindset, Greek lifestyle. He brought some influence from there, and also Chinese influence and Indian influence. There are many interesting ways. Later Russians came over, and of course they brought Orthodox faith. But that's a place where many different religions, they peacefully live together, and they contribute to the society.
So when will it be, and how much is it? And
It's October this year.
October this year, 2023.
Yes, 2023, October 5 to 14.
Okay.
Anyone can join. If the students are joining, they will be also given the opportunity to take classes. The trip as a class. Yes, we will give credits.
And how much is it? How much does one needs to prepare for this?
Inside the country, it's about $1,900 one night. Inside the country. But to go there, it's up to you which itinerary to take. It's personal. Our group will be a mixed group. It's difficult to provide, the whole group going together. Once you get there, there will be everything settled, everything assigned, arranged. I'm also in conversation with the leaders there, church leaders, so they will also help us.
I see. With accommodations.
Accommodation is fixed with the tour guide, tour company, which will help us. But other things like going to church, maybe being exposed to some projects that the church is doing in the area, I think that's what they can help us.
All right. Thank you. As we wrap up this conversation, what are some of motives of serving Christ with a Christ worldview? Would you like to maybe share? There's anything you'd like to share?
Yes. I think closing, I would say the experience and the example of those who were before us, giving up their lives. I remember how many faithful members in my country, in my region, they died in the prisons, they died in concentration camps because of their faith. In every country, in every region, there is a heritage of martyrs, of those who have given up their lives to pave the way for the church to be established, to bring new people to Christ, to just share their faith openly. I think we need to remember that. This motivates, truly motivates. And then I would also say reading the Bible and the spirit of prophecy. I'm trying to follow this every day when I just run around the campus. I'm listening to the Bible and the spirit of prophecy. I already finished the Great Controversy, the Desire of Ages. Now I'm listening to the Patriarchs and Prophets. And I tell you, I'm motivated every single day. When I listen to this, the Bible examples, the heroes of faith, I can see that there is a long way for me to go and to grow. I have room to grow.
Wonderful. In fact, they say a Christian journey is a step to Christ, not a jump to Christ.
True.
So we're always taking one step at a time. Thank you, Dr. Pavel, for sharing your expertise in service and mission, and particularly in the area of motives of serving Christ with Christ worldview. Well, I don't know about you, but today we just learned a lot, and particularly we learned that serving Christ, we need to share ourselves to others, and making sure that we give them a directions to follow Christ. Until we come again to the next episode, may God bless you. May God motivate you to really share your faith with others. Until then, God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.